say that just because they have a lot of people out there that could shoot and really tough guys that could defend, so they switch everything. The one big thing about it is just it's hard to play against a team that just switches everything. But they've been doing a real good job of it, and their small ball really works.
First of all, what this also does, it puts Russ and James in a really awkward situation. They're going to have to play lights out every single night, or one of them.
You can't contain Westbrook and Harden when they get in the paint. They're going to kick it out. All those guys going to have open shots. And again, it's a big if.
Shaq.
Shots like that,
But Shaq,
they're all going to be hard to beat.
West Gucci NBA Nation is 22 Khalil, and needless to say, the Houston Rockets has took the NBA world by storm with their innovative small ball lineup. Weeks prior, Rockets GM Daryl Morey decided to pull the trigger before the trade deadline, trading their bigs Clint Capela, Nene, and their first-round pick for Robert Covington and second-round picks. And as expected, NBA Twitter and the national media let them have it. From funny Twitter memes to hot takes by the national media. Most people, even myself, thought that Daryl Morey was insane for trading his two centers away. Now I know Robert Covington is a very good player, but trade away both of your centers from playoff teams like the Lakers, Nuggets, and Jazz, who used their bigs as an advantage, seemed a little crazy to me. And of all the teams that they would start the small ball era with, they ended up with the Lakers and their bigs. Before tip-off, I was thinking of how much slander the Rockets was going to get after the Lakers beat the brakes off them. Then all of a sudden, the Lakers ended up losing to the Rockets despite Anthony Davis going for 32 and 12. Now, albeit the Lakers had their fair reasons for why they lost, but at the end of the day, the Rockets led at the end of all four quarters. And the glaring thing that popped out on my TV the most was the fact that Russell Westbrook was driving off the Lakers centers being spaced out at the three, finishing the game with 41, 8, and 5. And for Robert Covington playing his first game in Houston, he ended up being a key part of the win, hitting clutch threes and playing solid defense in his very first game. And from there, the Rockets have been thriving ever since, earning a 5-2 record so far with the small ball experiment. And as for the two losses, Westbrook didn't play in their blowout defeat to the Suns, and the Jazz needed take a look.
6 left to play. Ingles trying to get it in, having trouble. Bogdanovich, tough shot, he went in! The Utah Jazz have won it!
So for now, it's safe to assume that the small ball for them is actually going pretty well so far. On offense, the Rockets barely look like they miss Capela, as the pain's been cleared up for Westbrook and Harden to have easy drives in his absence. And with Harden back to his MVP ways, along with Westbrook having a stellar season so far, I think this makes them a much harder team to stop overall. Sure, the workload for the two would be a lot, but if there's anybody that's used to handling a lot, it's the two MVPs themselves. This new lineup now leaves potential problems for defenses, as the Rockets have shooters spaced out for the two stars to penetrate, generating a lot of threes. Before the trade, Westbrook and Harden will often drive to a crowded lane due to Capela waiting down there, often leading Westbrook to attempt more threes. But since the trade, Westbrook has been motivated to drive to the paint more. And so far, Westbrook has been up for the task. The Jazz tried to counter it last game by putting Rudy Gobert on him, but to be honest, it really didn't go so well.
I'm sure the Rockets talked about how they needed to clean up that defense. Successful at this level, but Russ is probably the most competitive.
My jaw was honestly left wide open after it seemed like the Rockets basically made him look almost useless. Don't believe me? Let's ask Russ and Harden.
Obviously the second time they used Rudy to guard Russ. What do you think of that strategy and the way that Russ has attacked it?
What did Russ have?
34?
It's pretty good. Obviously didn't work.
Have you ever been guarded by a 7-footer regularly throughout a game before?
Not until last time we played him.
What
I mean, everybody's been doing it, but I don't know if it's working.
And as for Capela's defensive presence, it seems like the Rockets have adapted to a more help-heavy defense, especially towards the opposing team's bigs. Mostly influenced by Draymond Green's role in Golden State, they often use PJ Tucker and Robert Covington to take the task of dealing with the bigs night in and night out. But most of these centers being mostly rim runners, it's pretty rare that you would see a pure back-to-the-basket big like LaMarcus Aldridge, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic. And for the games they do play back-to-the-basket bigs, expect the Rockets to throw a lot of double teams to the opposing bigs. So far, the Rockets has been copying the Warriors playbook by having PJ Tucker basically in the Draymond role. But the only thing that's the difference is the fact that PJ Tucker is basically the full-time center, while Draymond is basically playing center in certain parts of the game. By having PJ Tucker and Robert Covington playing the 4 and 5, they're able to switch a lot on defense, which has resulted in them forcing a lot of turnovers these last few games. Now I think it's great for Rocket fans knowing that PJ Tucker has fully embraced that Draymond Green role. However, I'm a little concerned that it might wear him out once the playoffs hit the corner. Also, the style of play can only work if the role players are able to hit their shots, but so far players like like Daniel House and Bam McLemore has been able to accept the challenge so far. Now, with all this being said, I think that in the playoffs, there's quite a possibility of them having the same fate from years past. But for some reason, I think that they hit the jackpot when it comes to the small ball lineup. If PJ Tucker and Robert Covington can hold up doing their roles for the rest of the season, then I think they have a pretty good shot at making some noise in the playoffs. Also, no matter how tacky this team can be, beating Harden and Westbrook in the playoffs won't be an easy task. The Rockets have two of the toughest guards in the NBA, and to be honest, most teams don't have the talent to stop them alone. Add that with this new Warriors-like system, and I think the Rockets, regardless of expectations, will be a fun watch in the playoffs. Now guys, that's it for today's video. Let me know down in the comment section how long you think the Rockets small ball can last. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to Tings as I got more NBA content on the way. But it's your boy 22 Khalil, and as they say in Japan, Ja Matane. Peace.